This is exclusive updates, and so you may have already been eating lab modified meat. And so when I first came across information about lab modified meat, this was a couple years ago when the news was just breaking about this process of generating meat in a lab. So usually you would want to be eating meat from a farm, from an actual animal, but now for some reason, they are trying to make meats out of a lab, and I did a story on this years ago. I explained how they generate the meat. I'll probably leave a link in the comment section, description box. I might go back and find that and leave a link for it, because I believe the process was something like they're able to duplicate cells or regenerate cells, and it's not even clear if these cells originate from an animal or if these cells are genetically created cells or genetically modified cells, or whatever you want to call it. But whatever the case, I mean, they're somehow able to reproduce and regenerate these cells until it forms into a meat-like substance, and it's called lab modified meat. So when I first did that story, most people are probably like, I hope this doesn't actually happen. But it sounds like it's already happened quietly, and it's already being served to people. And I'll tell you how you might have already eaten it. And so before I get to that, when you hear about lab modified meat, you're thinking, okay, I can go to a grocery store and there'll be a package of meat clearly labeled where I can skip over it. You're thinking, and you'll see this package. It should clearly say lab modified meat or bioengineered or something, where you can be like, okay, I'm not going to buy this product. But it turns out there's a legal loophole for restaurants. So we're talking fast food restaurants and regular restaurants. So it sounds like this legal loophole has been used, and that they're actually able to serve you lab modified meat at restaurants and fast food joints. So you might have already partaken of lab modified meat. So I just wanted to share this with you. And the legal loophole is something along the lines of like how if they were to sell you a thing of nachos, and they have cheese dip, they're not necessarily going to say, this cheese dip is synthetic. You're just going to get the nachos and dip the nachos in the cheese dip, and they're not going to necessarily have a big label that discloses that information about this cheese, and it's not real, it's artificial. And the same thing for like corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup and stuff like that. So when it comes to meat, I guess that's how they're kind of categorizing this, to where it's just something that the restaurant can serve and they don't necessarily have to disclose it to you. And like if you order a cake or something from a restaurant, you eat the cake, they don't necessarily say, hey, this is high fructose corn syrup, or whether it's cane sugar or not. They just give you the cake, and you eat it. So with this information, I thought it was pretty important to share with you all. So, because I know a lot of you probably don't want to eat lab modified meat. So now, this is some information I came across years ago, where I heard from this health expert, Dr. Sebi, where he was saying that you shouldn't be eating meat if it's not attached to a bone. So, like when you have the option of going to Chick-fil-A or Popeyes, well, if you're going to eat fast food chicken, at least Popeyes has the bone attached to their chicken. You have the option to order a chicken breast, a chicken leg, a chicken wing, something where you're sure that there's a bone attached to it. Or even like a place like Wingstop or Buffalo Wild Wings, you'll see that they have options for you to, and their most popular product is most likely the meat that's attached to the bone. The chicken that actually is real chicken, you're thinking, because, yeah, I mean, what else is it? It has the bone still attached to it. So that makes you feel more comfortable about eating the meat. But when you order like the fillets, like at Chick-fil-A, they don't even sell, from what I understand, like chicken wings or anything like that. It's all filet. So, I would be kind of personally skeptical about eating from a place that doesn't have the bone attached to it, or even like Raising Cane's or something, And even with the bone attached to it, I'd still be kind of skeptical sometimes, just because I'm not sure about, like, with the rib joints. You can go to like a real rib place like Famous Dave's, and the meat, tastes real incredible. Like, okay, this is real ribs for sure. But then if you order the same, a slab of ribs from a place like a restaurant that doesn't really specialize in ribs, let's say, for example, Chili's or Outback Steakhouse or something, where the restaurant doesn't necessarily specialize in ribs, they just, they offer it. Well, at a place like that, it's like, okay, you'll order the ribs and it tastes real different. And it could be because it's oven baked, but who knows? I mean, so I wouldn't think they would go as far as to maybe get some artificial ribs and, artificial bones and, put lab grown meat over it, have lab grown meat grow over artificial bones or something. I don't know if that's a possible thing or something, but, there is some skeptical and some sketchy things sometimes with some of these meats and how they taste and the texture of it and stuff like that. So I don't know, I think, but for the most part, I would think bones would be, the safest way to know that you're eating meat, or just cook at home, like I said. But not everybody can cook at home all the time, Sometimes you're on the go and you might have to grab something from a restaurant or a fast food place. So this is information you should know, like, okay, when you're ordering from these restaurants, they don't necessarily have to disclose whether or not their meat is lab grown or not. So especially like with a taco or something like that, or anywhere like that. So I guess it turns out that there is some restaurants that are coming out and disclosing that they're GMO free. Like I heard Chipotle might be GMO free. I'm not sure about that 100%, but that's what I've been hearing, is that sounds like they have some type of disclosure where they want their customers to know that they are GMO free. And so otherwise, I mean, I'm sure if you go to the supervisor or the manager or something, I'm sure they would most likely provide you with the ingredients if you need specific ingredients on something. A lot of menus, they just show you the product and you order it, but I think a lot of these places also, like, if you specifically request the ingredients, I'm pretty sure they'd probably try to accommodate you. Maybe they'll disclose it, maybe they won't. I mean, I don't know if they're legally obligated to disclose it or their ingredients or anything, but it'd be worth a chance maybe if you really want to be sure about what you're eating, just to make sure you're not eating lab modified meat. But like I said, there's several ways you can figure that out without necessarily having to bother anyone or ask the manager or something. Like I said, just make sure you're eating meat on a bone. That's kind of what I would do, and that's what I actually been doing, anyways. So kind of avoid, I pretty much avoid fillets and stuff like that, or chicken sandwiches or burgers, for the most part. So once in a while, you might want a burger, but hopefully you're not eating a lab modified meat burger. That's the thing. I mean, maybe it's not even that big of a deal to you. I don't know if it is or not. Let me know. What do you think about lab modified meat? Is this a big deal to you, or do you think it's not that really big of a deal? Let me know in the comment section if you're gonna try to avoid eating lab modified meat or not. After hearing this information, I'm gonna leave some links, like I said. I also leave links to my other channels, my social media and stuff like that. If you want to follow me, if you want to support this channel, I'll leave links for that as well. Let's get over 100 likes on this video. Make sure you subscribe and all that. This has been Exclusive Updates. I'm out.